Yeah, no, it's triple time, I think. Let's see, 3 times 0. Carry the 1. So you gotta. People think that we're not getting their cities aren't getting their money's worth out of us. I don't know. Free's a pretty good price. Or getting paid, you can't yell at me.
And we do these.
You on camera today?
You are?
Yeah.
You're gonna find out.
Do
November,
pretty soon.
yeah. I was just getting my hair cut and Jake was getting advice from the haircutting lady.
So I'm sure he's heard a lot of stuff he doesn't
Well,
need to hear.
that's what I told him is that, my experience was a lot of people, like Amy had a C-section and people say, well, I was in labor for 77 hours and, you're not a real mother because you didn't go through that. And then she couldn't breastfeed and they'd say, well, your kids won't be very smart if they're not breastfeeding. I mean, just crazy stuff. Oh, yeah, I know. And she's worried about it. I say, just ignore these people,
Yeah, Karen couldn't either, and she just felt so.
I know.
Well, her baby had this gastrointestinal.
Sign for me.
Yeah.
And then once they got him on some kind of super expensive formula,
Right,
he
right.
finally started gaining weight and stuff, but she
Yeah.
just felt like
Yeah,
such
well,
a
we had the same
failure.
thing, that she wasn't able to give enough that they
Right?
John Michael's here.
Could make.
Yeah, I guess we might as well. I don't know, Tim, is the 10-12 a year?
Did he say that he was out of town?
Oh, you're right, he did. Thanks, Joel. Thank you.
Imagine you doing it.
Tyler, whenever you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're good.
Switched on. Good morning and welcome. It's now 12:02. Call this meeting to order. Pretty short agenda today. We've got the bid awards coming out from our old business. And I'll ask Mr. Cuppy to come up and try to orchestrate the
Yeah,
information.
what we can tell. All right, you've had your meeting, everything was compliant, we've had the publications, we had your first meeting, and you took it under advisement. So here we are. If you recall, we did 3, but 2 got bids. The first one in question is Eastgate subdivision lot number 1, which is 0.3 of an acre. The minimum bid requirement was 137.5, which we had to get 2 appraisals for. You opened a sealed bid for, he goes by Haas Patel. Him and his wife submitted a bid, and they actually bid 151, so $151,000. You're probably aware that they do other things in the community. They own the Clark Station on the west side. They own Dairy Queen, and they're half owner of the convenience store on Mall Road. So he submitted a bid. Everything's compliant with zoning. Their bid's over the amount. I have been working with Haas and his wife, but the proposal is the hope is, if everything works out, they are going to develop a tropical smoothie cafe. So it's all about alignment and how that will work on design and placement. He's already been in talks with Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's a franchise. It's a pretty large franchise. But we're basically locally, but only have a permit. There will be a state permit that's needed, that he has to submit all the drawings and placement. Next step is we would get an address for him and go through the process. I know you've looked through it, and I've looked through it. I don't see any reason why we would not grant the 151 purchase price to Hospital.
Questions? I will say we had in that packet, or he now provided us a drawing of a somewhat typical tropical smoothie cafe. And I noticed this is really one that's come, this is not saying this is what's going to fit on that land. So, I hesitated, some people asked me about it. It's like, I don't think I've got anything that we really need to provide, because people are going to start, you'll see there's some cases where it's saying add this and add that, but this is actually for a property in Oklahoma. So it's a case where if people I'm hesitant to say, let's toss this out there, and so I think I've tried to let the various media know to talk to Mr. Patel, because the way this normally runs is that these franchises have 6 different footprints of different kind of stores for different kind of locations, and where's the front going to be at, and where's the drive-through, and that kind of stuff. And so I don't want we get out there and the public is all going, wait a minute, you said there was going to be, whatever. So you'll notice in some of the plans, it'll say like, it's like optional, things where you can add a bar type seating or a sit down seating or whatever. But that's in the packet, but I say that, I'm hesitant to put this out there to guarantee, yep, here's the public, this is it. This is not the drawings. Once they get approval, now they can go to the franchise and say, okay, we're ready. Here's the piece of land we need to stick it on. And then they can figure out parking and that kind of stuff. So anyway, just as a note, as I say, because there's people who have asked me, oh, are they going to put things out there? And, well, there's not, I don't really want to pull a pin on a hand grenade, and then they go, well, I thought there's supposed to be 7 tables. There's only 2 in here, or whatever. So oftentimes, there are footprints. I say this one's actually a working store, the set of drawings he gave us. So this is an actual property in Oklahoma.
Time will tell, but there's actually an Oklahoma and a Florida one in your packet.
Okay.
I would anticipate the Florida will be more towards the size that would fit for that area.
Yeah.
It's half the seating. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be customized to fit what can fit, but
Yeah.
I would guess it'll be close to the Florida model.
I think as an example, like McAllister's is a different size than you might find in Lafayette. So oftentimes there's a different footprint for the size of the town. And, it all works, and, we're glad to have that. One of the things I thought I'd also mention, just in the social, this has nothing to do with the vote coming up, but just in general, that I think sometimes people don't understand, these people have decided to want to invest into Logansport and put their own money, sometimes they say put their capital at risk, so they want to start a business. You get all these kind of comments about, we don't need that, or we don't need this. What we really need is, everybody God bless America, capitalism is great. Anybody in town could build what they want to have built. They can just go out and get partners and build it. And so I respect the people, when people say, we don't need this, or we don't, it's like, well, these people think we do. And oftentimes there are studies that go along with it where they've actually studied our community and figured out, traffic and et cetera, and, say it's not something the mayor does not control this, the city council doesn't control this. These are individuals that come in and want to put capital into our community, and in effect, later on, will give us, some property taxes back too. So, anyway, that's just a small editorial, because I had some people already telling me, well, we don't need, like the motel. Do we need another motel in town? Do we need another gas station in town? I mean, just like, these are people that, it's kind of interesting that, obviously the person wants to put a gas station in town, thinks that that'll work out okay, and they'll make a profit. And I mean, there's a lot of money that, the hotel is over $10 million in investment, and they're going to just willy-nilly I don't think the town needs one, but let's just toss $10 million. It's just a funny Logansport kind of a thing, where, people, like, it's like, well, or you get this franchise brand. Well, I would have rather had that franchise brand. I, again, am thankful. I don't ever want these owners to get a bad impression that Logansport's against them on anything. And as I say, I just love, that's what makes America great, is that everybody gets to have their own idea what they want to do, and if they raise the money, they can try it, and some things end up being Sonic, and some things end up being Sycamore, and it lasts different times. So anyway, that's just my short editorial piece. I will make a motion that we accept the Eastgate sublot property for the purchase price of $151,000 by Haas and Jigna Patel. I'll just say Haas, that's what he calls himself. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or comments? No? All those in favor signify by sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Okay, Bill?
The next one that was bid upon was, we have a 3-parcel piece of land down at what we would call the Riverfront Development. The only known address at this point is 916 Ray Street, which used to be the Blue House that was demolished. But there's 2 other parcels. It makes up 1.097 acres. The minimum bid requirement was $86,000. We do have a bid for $86,000. There was some question on the way they worded that bid, and I did get clarity from them and sent that out. But yeah, they do in fact will purchase the property for $86,000. It's a group called Averis Group. It's a development firm. They specifically are working with the hotel chain called Cobblestone Hotels. They're very big through Wisconsin, Michigan, basically right down through the Midwest. It'll be the 3rd one they have now in Indiana if this happens. But it's a 54-room, which was over the 50 minimum requirement we had in the RFP. There will be a wine and beer bar, hotel-style breakfast, indoor pool, fitness room, meeting room, lobby gathering space. It does conform to the B2 central business zoning. Again, this, as Mike mentioned it, their pro forma, it's probably higher now, but their initial pro forma was $10,358,500. I am aware of this group. They have a lot of dealings, and they do have the investors. But again, they're a development group that would build it, and then Cobblestone, the way their franchise works, once it's built to suit, they take it over and manage and operate it, which is kind of common in the investor world. They get their development fee and so forth. But so I highly recommend the approval of this. I think it fits all the buckets that we were asking for. It was a pretty tight RFP, asking for a 50-plus hospitality facility to go down there, and apparently we have one, and that's the bid on the table.
Any questions, comments? All right. I'll make a motion, we accept the, what we're calling the 916 Race Street property. It's 3 parcels, 1.097 acres, and we had a minimum bid of $86,000 for our request, and they have submitted a bid for $86,000. Is there a second? I'd like to make a motion to accept this bid. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion, comments? All right, all those in favor signify by a sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now's the time for, oh, go ahead.
The only other thing to mention, we have a third one that did not get bid upon. Just want to point out that consists of, and I didn't bring the complete details, but it's lot number 3 at Eastgate. It's 1.17 acres. It's got a building on it, which is 21,760 square feet. They have a parking lot with it that kind of goes up against lot number 1 of approximately 23,000 square feet. The initial RFP had 57,000 square feet of parking lot. That was inaccurate. But it's 23,000 square feet. It's also zoned B3. Without having a bid, we can now, we have this 30-day time where we do nothing, essentially, but people can contact me. And as of September 27th, we get through that threshold of 30 days. We then can negotiate, interview, entertain, whatever you as a board would like to do. So my goal is to get interested parties, hopefully, in that. Then I would bring it to your group we can vet the process and interview them. You can sell it for $0, you can sell it for $1 million. There's no dollar amount requirement anymore. So just to point that out.
Bill?
Yep.
On that one, the small parcel to the north of that, 0.32 acres, what's the thought with that parcel? I know it's kind of a shared space, but would RDC maintain ownership indefinitely of that?
I want to dig in further of what the perceived or verbal agreements that might be out there that exist. I don't want to undercut Braves parking lot that
Right.
they use for it. I would think that you can, as an owner, negotiate, if we want to get something in writing, which I would highly recommend, whether it's for $1 a year or whatever the market value would be, we need to get that in writing, so when your group doesn't exist anymore, or the Braves group changes, or the city administration changes, they're not left looking around saying, oh, we don't have a parking lot. You can't sell it to them. If you ever wanted to sell it, you would have to go out to RFP. And I don't recommend that at this point in time. So I would think that it's probably best, and I can be that third party to get with them, see what it is, what the perceived agreement might be, and we can work out something in writing for them for 5 years,
Yeah.
3 years, or whatever it may be.
And, because at some point, there'll be property tax on that parcel. I don't see anything on the Elevate that says what it has been. That was the city previously?
That one, correct.
So,
That's been our one.
just something, we keep talking about property taxes, and how the county is dealing with the city, so just something to keep in mind as we come up with whatever agreement. I don't know what, $10 a year, I don't know what it'll be, $300, I don't know, but just something to keep in mind.
My understanding, and Malcolm could share, I believe they maintain it, they reseal it, they stripe it, they snow plow it.
Sure.
Weed eat it, all those things that happen on parking lots. Yeah, I agree. If we at some point have, definitely if we at some point have maintenance fees or something, tax,
Yeah,
then we would want to recover that.
keep that, just keep that in mind, I think, great.
I would took adverse possession. Striking and all that kind of stuff.
It's a period of time, yeah. Okay.
The only other thing to bring up, and I know it's, as I'm sitting here thinking, the first 2 bids that you awarded, at some point, we're going to dispose of those and have fees. So we'll be fine, and we can do a resolution in September. We're not going to do it before then. But I got to line up a timing with Haas when him and his bank want to close on this. Same thing with the hotel. I have to do an economic development agreement. But at some point, we're going to have title insurance and deeds, and so I'll have a resolution in September to maybe, that would be good enough to cover that.
And then logistically, for just a transfer of funds, they'll, write us checks or whatever, and those will get deposited into the discretionary.
Treasury
We can
fund.
define that in that resolution too, it'd probably help. Because since these were public bids, we need to close and we need to get that transferred.
The other thing
For
to
those
be aware
expenses.
of, and I don't know, I guess we now own those properties, but, up until now, the city of Logansport has plowed the snow on that Ivy Tech property, come up through Braves and do that area there. We also will now have utilities, and they've got a roof that's in really bad shape that needs about $800-some-thousand of fix to it, which is why I think the appraisal of that property is, you have the Popeyes land was $424,000, and this whole property was 200, I think it was 212 or something like that. But you've got a $800,000, $1 million roof you need to put on it. So in some ways, you're not going to find anybody to say, oh yeah, I'd like to have that property. Now, you could make the case, and Bill has done some investigation into knock the building down and sell it to somebody, here's land that, if it gets to be where we don't have any people that are looking at needing the building as is, we could consider having it knocked down and then you sell the land for a future business or something like that. But we now will start taking on those utility bills and.
I think
The size of their
I think
sewer
if we
pipe.
start to hold it and nobody wants it, of course, demo's an option, but it might be something RDC should do to at least paint that facade or something. It's pretty, something to temporarily dress it up a little bit. Because if I get a new investor with a new roof that's pitched, I've got to get with LMU on the water,
Yeah.
the stormwater plan to not flood Braves and everybody else down north of that. Because it is going to shed a lot of water. Currently, it's a flat roof that goes into roof drains that goes directly into the system.
When we received this property, is there 6 months? Was there 6 months of expenses that came through the city?
I think it's through maybe through January
Yeah.
26th, that the utilities are paid for by the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snow probably does not need to be done if they're not. I don't think there's anybody in there doing anything. Used to have some night classes were in there. I don't think there's anybody in there now, but somebody, once again, needs to, walk through occasionally to make sure you don't have a leak coming down and, that we ruin the value of the property before we sell it. So it's the same as we get land, we got to cut grass, and it's a whole different level of stuff that we're not.
And thinking more through these closings, now that I'm really thinking about it, it's, you as the seller will also have the closing fee, so only the net will be affected. We don't necessarily have to approve, you wouldn't pay closing costs to get a $151,000 check, you would just get a check for $149 or whatever it is. If you're okay with that, maybe just in the minutes state that you understand there'll be closing
Net
costs.
proceeds.
And Mike would have to approve the HUD statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. To make sure they're appropriate
Right.
closing costs. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's all I
Okay.
got.
All right, any public comments? Kelly?
I did talk to Mr. Stanton this morning, he just got back from vacation. He's advised the assessor's office that you are an official Logansport entity and do not have to pay taxes on our property that you guys own. We still have the back issue. You did pay some taxes, so that we can get these back.
All right,
Wayne is going to be working on that as soon as he gets back. He didn't want to go off his trip to go fishing for some reason. Give us the numbers, but Jeff is also checking with Indianapolis. They've got some money they can check with down there. The worst case scenario, they don't get that money back.
Yeah.
I think we're entitled to it back.
Right.
We've got some of it in TIF district has already come back to us. Some of it was not in the TIF district, so we didn't get any of that on that. But we do, the worst right now is each time that we do a transfer, whether it comes from the city of Logansport to RDC or RDC gets it from somebody else, and we do need to file one of those exemption forms so that they know it's the city of Logansport and not taxable. That's our
So,
remaining debate.
like in the case of Eastgate's, it was owned by the city before, we need to still for the form so they know that, or it's just on properties that were commercial or privately owned before?
We've been paying,
To be safe, we should probably give them a form, I don't know.
I mean, if they haven't been paying taxes or charging taxes,
Right, we usually have two different situations, one where the city owns it, and then it comes to us, or in the case of, what's a good example? Like the
Ethan Manning.
SUS property or whatever, that was a tax paying, so there we definitely have to give them a form that says, hey, it's changing from a taxpayer to a to a government entity. So
I
I
don't
think,
think we have to do that, because when you take title to it, you're taking it as the city of Logansport, or
Oh.
Logansport Redevelopment Commission on that, so we shouldn't. That's what Jeff is trying to.
Oh.
So that's what I'm saying. is
well,
in this case, we
I'll have
to-
Dwayne check, when Dwayne's doing some stuff, I'll have him make sure that that's, you know, that we're on we had this once before, we thought we were on the same page
Right.
with them, and that wasn't exactly how it was,
They
so,
don't have it, if it's in Logansport.
okay.
I- City building, on that.
I would guess that probably like the SUS and that stuff. See, I've always questioned too, like even the TIF districts, is that we give them no special notice that says, hey, Burger King is now up there and the values changed what was from B&K or whatever. You know, I was always curious as to how they catch that and, you know, do that, but, you know, okay.
Essentially,
Paperwork goes through them.
Right.
that doesn't do anything good.
I just, they have to realize that when they get it, that it's not, you know, because when I was talking to them, some of this TIF district for, sat down there in their office, like, well, I don't know, that's, you know, and there was a lot of confusion, seemed like, in the local office, so.
But essentially, Kelly, if they're going to make us continue to do the forms and not pay us the back taxes, what did it do?
Well,
What was accomplished?
that's the easy.
You know, you still have the form to do the forms, though. So if we had to do the forms, and
But we were filing forms before and still paying taxes, weren't we?
no, we had missed some.
I remember that.
We had missed some, and then we had to pay that tax, so we paid it. Now they're all filed,
Okay.
so if we have to do that going forward, and they're not going to pay us that money,
Okay.
really, it didn't accomplish anything.
Like the, yeah,
Thought we were
like the
still
case
having
of,
to-
like the farmer's market, the city owned it, city gave it to us. They said that when we took possession of it, we didn't file the form.
Right.
So we owned taxes on the farmer's market.
And you paid it.
The city had
but
before.
The good thing is what he's saying is it's going to come back to you anyway, because it's in a TIF district.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
essentially got it back. That's maybe why they're not paying it, because you're going to be like a double, anyway,
Well, that's to be determined.
okay.
Yeah. Well, this story
Go
will
through it.
continue, the story continues. We'll see what the next chapter is.
We have it recognized as an official city organization.
Yeah, that's good. Any other public comments? Any board member comments?
My only, just back, Bill, on that, I thought there was some issue that we were still going to have to pay real estate taxes even after we filed the forms that I thought we were still paying real estate taxes.
So hopefully that'll eliminate fall installment.
Okay.
Because you only paid spring.
I've told Dwayne, do not pay any.
Yeah, that's the thing. We want to be completely tax exempt because we're the city.
Of that.
Okay,
You don't have fall.
okay.
Aaron or somebody went down and did file.
It was weird in the fact, we never, who knows where it got sent to? We never received the tax statement.
Statement, right.
So then, all of a sudden, somebody contacted and said, hey, you guys are late on this, and we're like, late on what? And, you know, we'd never gotten the original tax date.
Right.
They can't determine where they sent it to. They sent it to this building, but you know how it never got to us, and it wasn't to us, it was to the city of Logansport or whatever. So it's just kind of a, you know, I think hopefully this will sort out, and, you know, it'll all be, you know, one way or another. I make a little comment here. Number one, I want to thank Tyler Pearson, who's the clerk treasurer that's here today. As you said, Dwayne has been off he's off on a 2-week fishing vacation, and we thought it was important to get this process, keep it moving, have this special meeting today. So thank you for, Tyler took care of all the notices, and he's running the magic of the online streaming and that sort of stuff. So thank you, Tyler. Secondly, I want to thank Bill Cuppy. Nobody, I mean, I probably this hotel, you've probably been working on this for over a year, hasn't it been? Yeah.
How long it's taken, but yeah.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, and I think even the hospitals thing has been fairly, you know, we're kind of at the luxury, we get the tail end. Bill deals with this, you know, day to day, and, you know, they want to know what the updates are and what the, you know, this is, and I say, and a while back, they produced, Bill and Aaron Schaefer presented here's all the stuff we did with the dates, and there was like 15 different dates that Aaron did stuff and 12 different dates that Bill did stuff, and that's all behind the scenes. So sometimes people get kind of like, why is this not done immediately? They snap their, this should be done like this, and oftentimes it has to go from city council to us and back to city council, and, you know, and you have to also get surveyors, and we got the whole thing with appraisals. We have to have 2 appraisals by state stuff, and, you know, and so it's kind of, you know, and probably we'll have to have another set of appraisals when we actually sell it to these guys, probably, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so I do appreciate the stuff that Bill does, and say he's basically the man behind the curtain, and does all this stuff for us, and we look like heroes, and, you know. So anyway, thanks to Bill. Anything else going on? Anything else? Anybody? All right. I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Have a good one.
You too.